Hello, and welcome to today's information session for Nexus Academy of Ohio and Nexus Academy of Michigan. Nexus Academy is part of the Connections Education family. You may be more familiar with Connections Education through our Ohio Connections Academy or Michigan Connections Academy. These are our public schools that offer students in grades K through 12 a 100% online learning experience. The reason I want to make you aware of this is even though Nexus Academy is a new name in your community, Connections Education has been bringing high-quality educational experiences to students in grades K through 12 since 2001. That same high-quality curriculum, technology, and faculty standards in terms of selection, training, and development are all part of Nexus Academy. Another key point is that earlier this year, Connections Education was acquired by Pearson, a multi-billion-dollar global leader in education. What this means is that Nexus Academy is brought to you by highly experienced and well-resourced educators that are committed to student success. So again, even though Nexus Academy is a new name in your community, we're bringing with us many years of successfully educating students in grades K through 12. So what exactly is Nexus Academy? Well, Nexus Academy is a tuition-free public high school that offers a college preparatory education for students in grades 9 through 12. Nexus Academy brings together the best in classroom and online learning, combined with a highly personalized and flexible environment, an award-winning curriculum, and industry-leading technology in order to provide our students with a rigorous, engaging learning experience. This fall, Nexus Academy will open schools in Cleveland, Columbus, and Toledo, Ohio, as well as Grand Rapids and Lansing, Michigan. Now, probably the easiest way to explain the Nexus Academy experience is to walk you through the day in the life of a typical student. So let me introduce you to Jason. Last year, Jason was a freshman, and he attended the high school in his local neighborhood. And what he saw were budget cuts that led to larger classroom sizes, fewer teachers, and fewer courses being offered. Now, Jason's also a pretty good student that likes to pull out his smartphone or his laptop computer in order to go online and find other information that's related to the subject matter he's studying. But unfortunately, his school had rules and processes that didn't allow him to use those equipments in his classroom setting. Jason also is the type of student that felt a little bit frustrated when he was being held back while waiting for the teacher to work with other students in the classroom. Sure, he understood that those students needed the time, but he'd like to be able to move at his own pace when he mastered the subject matter, and he'd like to be able to take his time when he's struggling with something and make sure that he can master the material with the teacher in one-on-one sessions. So at the end of the year, Jason and his parents, over the summer break, heard a commercial for an open house for Nexus Academy, and they decided to attend. At the end of the open house, they felt confident enough and enrolled Jason to attend at Nexus Academy his sophomore year. At the beginning of the year, the first thing Jason did was meet with his counselor, and he went through a series of assessment tests in order to identify his strengths and weaknesses, and then a series of conversations and interviews with the counselor in order to talk about Jason's goals, aspirations, dreams, what he wanted to do after high school, what he wanted to do after college, things like that. At the end of that process, the guidance counselor was able to put together Jason's personalized learning plan for the year and also helped Jason select the right courses for his academic adventures at Nexus Academy during his sophomore year. Now, Jason will log into our education management system for all of his work, and that system is called Nexus. And it's our proprietary system that's been running our schools since 2001, and it allows a lot of different benefits to occur in the learning experience, and I'll get into those in a little bit. But in the first few weeks, Jason's logging in, he's going through the work that's there, he's reading the assignments, he's turning in the assignments, the homework assignments, he's taking his tests, and he's also going to school for his morning session, which it happens to be Tuesday through Friday, 8:30 to 12:30. He could have signed up for the afternoon classroom session, which is Monday through Thursday, 1 to 5. But he's more of a morning person, and he wanted to have his afternoons free for other things like work, internships. Maybe Jason's an aspiring actor and he has acting classes, or an inspiring diver and he's going to go and work with his coach on his diving techniques. Whatever the case might be, he wanted to have his afternoons open for other things. But Jason's been doing the work online, he's been doing the work in the classroom, and now it's the third or fourth week of school. Jason comes in for the morning session at 8:30, and like all mornings, he goes to his assigned team room, where he, along with 35 other students, meet every morning at the start of the session with the success coach that's been assigned to them. And the success coach is a unique role here at Nexus Academy as well, and one I'll get into in more detail in just a little bit. So the students and the success coach go through their typical homeroom activities, morning announcements. The success coach talks to Jason and the other students about what they have planned for the week in order to make sure that they're focused and motivated to achieve the goals that lay ahead. At the end of that start of the day, Jason goes off for his first class. And today Jason is going to his English class where he's been reading Grapes of Wrath. And the concepts that they're focusing on this week are character development and plot development. And based on performance in class and what's been monitored and tracked in Nexus, the teacher realizes that Jason's struggling a little bit with character development. So today, the teacher has set up a session for Jason and a few of the other students that are at the same point, struggling with the same concepts, to do a remedial intervention in order to help them strengthen their understanding and their confidence with the subject matter and bring them back up to speed. The session lasts about 45 minutes, and at the end of that, Jason gets up, walks over to the cafe, and grabs some of the free healthy snacks and drinks that are available to all of our students at Nexus Academy. He then takes the snacks over to one of the study corrals, plugs in his notebook, which is a loaner that all of the students receive while they're a student at Nexus Academy. Plugs that in, puts in the headphones and the microphone, logs into Nexus, and then begins to participate in what we call a live lesson session, which is a live audio-video conference with his teacher and other students in one of his elective courses. In this case, it happens to be Chinese. And today, the student is working with the teacher on grammar and pronunciation with the students. So they spend the next 30 to 45 minutes working on grammar and pronunciation, right there live online like they were in the same room. At the end of that session, Jason unplugs and logs out from the system and heads over to one of the other open areas for meeting with 3 other students that happen to be in one of the clubs that Jason is a member of. At Nexus Academy, we have approximately 20 schools, extracurricular clubs that our students can attend and participate in. And they range from chess to poetry to creative writing to producing the school newspaper or the school magazine. Jason happens to be in the robotics club. Now, one of the really cool things about these clubs is these are connections education clubs. And by that I mean not only will Jason be participating with students at his specific Nexus Academy school, but he'll also be participating, ideally, with students at other Nexus Academies, as well as students at our Connections Academy schools, and the students at our National Connections Academy school, which is our 100% online private school. Now, what makes this really exciting and really valuable for the student is that Jason could be in these clubs with students anywhere in the world. National Connections Academy happens to have a global student body. Connections Academy has more than 20 schools around the United States. And Nexus Academy is starting off in Ohio and Michigan, but we do have plans for expansion later on. So it's a great learning experience to work with students from around the world, and it's a great experience for working with teams that aren't located in the same classroom, which is really valuable for college and for professional life later on, where, well, for example, myself, in my own daily business, I am working out of Baltimore, Maryland, but I work with people that are located around the globe, and it's really a key skill to strengthen and develop to be able to work with remote teams. So Jason gets that benefit while working here in the clubs. So these three gentlemen and Jason work on their project for the next robotics club meeting. Jason finishes that up. He now heads off to his next class, which is math. And today in Algebra 1, Jason has been working really well and has shown he's mastered the subject matter and is ready to move on at a faster pace. So the teacher has Jason and two other students that are moving at about the same pace work on a small group assignment so that they can move ahead on new material and stay challenged and engaged in the course. At the end of the session, Jason gets up and heads over to the fitness center. He then meets with the personal trainer and they review what Jason had done for his personal fitness plan over the last week, and they come to an agreement as to what Jason will do for the following week. At the end of the conversation, Jason jumps on one of the treadmills or the exercise cycles, does 15 to 20 minutes in order to knock out his daily requirement, and he's done with his physical fitness requirement for the day. Now we're close to the end of the day. It's about his classroom session. It's about noon. Jason grabs his lunch, goes over to one of the open study areas, happens to have a couch. He lays down on the couch, computer on his lap, sandwich in hand, goes through his reading assignment for one of his other courses. As I mentioned, Jason's going to the morning session. Each student we expect to do about an extra 2 hours of work online for the rest of their courses. So this is an opportunity for Jason to get a jump start on some of his other homework and class assignments. At the end of this class session, it's 12:30. Jason can stick around and continue to work on his schoolwork. We have room for students to come in early or stay late after their sessions. He could go home. He could go to the library if he wanted to, if he had internet access. He could continue on with his study. He could go off to an internship, a part-time job. As I mentioned, if he was taking piano lessons, he could go up to piano lessons. If he was taking acting classes, he could go work with his coach. It's up to him. What we're trying to create here at Nexus Academy, what we have created, is an environment where the student knows what they need to do and needs to develop the responsibility and the time management skills to get those things done on time and high quality. And then they have to juggle the rest of their life, be it work, be it other personal endeavors like acting or music or whatever the case might be. But this gets them ready for what they're going to experience at college and what they're going to experience in the real world, in the career world later on. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Connections Education, Pearson, we've put together Nexus Academy with our own experience over the last 10, 11 years. But we also, when we were putting together the concept of Nexus and what we wanted this school to be, this experience to be, we looked at outside research that focused on effective learning habits and patterns and needs for high school students. And several research studies came back with this finding, which played a key role in the development of Nexus. High school students should have some control over the time, place, path, and pace of their learning. As I mentioned with the example with Jason, we have the learning plan that deals with the path and the pace. We also have the ability for Jason to pick the morning or the afternoon session, as well as when he does the rest of his work outside of those classroom sessions. As far as time and place and path, again, flexible schedule that we've developed here at Nexus Academy for the student to really take charge of their life. I'll take these courses in the morning, I'll do these assignments in the afternoon or the evening, but I'll have these other things in my life take place when I need them to take place so that I have a full, well-rounded experience. Another key finding in some research studies that were done were that instruction must be targeted, efficient, data-driven, and standards aligned. Now, all of our curriculum meets or exceeds state standards. And as I mentioned, we have developed an education management system called Nexus, and it's been running our schools since 2001. It's gone through many upgrades and evolutions over time and improvements and enhancements. But what this does is Jason and all of our students will access their schoolwork through Nexus. They'll log in to get their assignments, they'll they'll do homework, they'll do tests, um, and all of this is captured in this system. The teachers are, and the principals are, and also our counselors, are trained in how to use Nexus to determine, is the student progressing as on the plan, on their personalized learning plan, or are they struggling, or are they ready to move ahead at a faster pace? They use that data to develop the learning experience that the student will have during the week. Is it an intervention? Is it work with other students that are on target and are mastering at the same pace? Or is it at a faster pace with other students or on their own? Everything is designed off of the data that we capture, not only face-to-face in the classroom, online and face-to-face, but also in Nexus, so that the teachers are able to respond quickly and effectively and appropriately to the way the student is progressing through the learning experience. Now, there's two other things that you need to know about Nexus that are really important. One is the principal uses this to work with the teachers. So, for example, in Jason's class, where he was struggling with plot development and character development, the principal might look at that class and realize there's 5 students in that class that seem to be struggling, and the teacher hasn't done an intervention with those students yet. So the principal will go down and talk to the teacher. Okay, I've noticed these students are struggling. You haven't done an intervention. What's your plan? And that way the teacher is being modified, being monitored and worked with by the principal in a very timely manner, so that the student experience stays focused and beneficial for the student. Nothing gets out of hand. Nothing gets lost. The principal is working with that teacher to make sure that the student experience is what it needs to be, and so the student's engaged and stays on track and feels part of, successful in moving forward. The other valuable part about Nexus is that parents have access to it so that they can see where their students are and how they're progressing in real time. No more quarterly report card surprise. You can log in any day of the week, every day of the week. You can see in real time how your child is progressing. If you have concerns, you know exactly what they are, and you can then pick up the phone or send an email to the teacher or the counselor or the principal or all of them or the success coach, and say, I see this when I log into Nexus. I'm concerned. What are we going to do about it? So it's a great way for you to be actively involved in your child's education with up-to-date data, and it's a great way for the principal to make sure that the teachers are delivering the right educational experience for the student, be it an intervention or be it moving them ahead at a faster pace, because they can handle it. The last big piece of research that really played a key role in the development of Nexus is that we're small and personal by design. In Ohio, we're limiting enrollment to 300 students per school, and in Michigan, 250 students per school. That's per school, not grade. And that means that in the morning session, for classes no more than 125 to 150 students, same for the afternoon. Our success coaches are going to be assigned a group of students to work with each day, every day for the course of the academic year. That means no more than 50 students when we're at maximum capacity enrollment. In our classrooms, you're looking, both face-to-face classrooms and online, you're looking at 5 to 15 students in that classroom. Overall, you're looking at a 13.6 student to adult ratio. Now, having spoken with some parents that have been their children have been attending the local high schools, those numbers are much higher in the local high schools. So again, we're focused on a more intimate, a more one-to-one, personalized educational experience for the student. I've already mentioned the morning and the afternoon sessions, and that the requirement would be that the student would put in an extra 2 hours per day online with the rest of their assignments. As far as an individualized approach, I've already mentioned the personalized learning plan and how that gets developed, and it's a living, breathing plan over the course of the year. The teacher, the counselor, the coach work with the student, and if the plan needs to be modified because of changes in the student's life or just performance, we're able to step in and make those changes together so that we're all clear as to what the goals and objectives are and what the new goals and objectives are. Everybody knows what their roles are and what's expected of them, and it just makes for a much cleaner understanding and a better experience overall. Flexible learning, I mentioned that the teachers have the ability to do one-on-one interventions, small group work, teamwork. The classrooms are flexible so that you can move everything around and work with students however best situated, so that you can set up the classrooms in different formations. Non-traditional scheduling, I mentioned Jason could take the morning or the afternoon session. He could do online work in the afternoon or the evening, early morning, whenever he wants to get that work done and how he fits it in with his schedule over the course of his life. Technology rich, I mentioned Nexus. Each student is also given a loaner PC. We have several models that we'll be offering the students. All of them are brand new, but I want to emphasize that these are designed for the educational experience. Having met with some families and mentioned the free laptop to some of the students and watched their eyes get large, the reality is these are brand new equipment that are for school, not for gaming, not for surfing the internet, not for chat rooms and such. They have certain security measures on it that won't allow the student to upload software on it, will not allow the student to access chat rooms or social networking sites, and it's not there to run the latest and greatest online games. So it's there to ensure that the student has a positive, highly engaged learning experience and is able to succeed in the classroom. Our teachers hold degrees anywhere from a bachelor's to master's to PhD. They have a range of experience in the classroom, teaching in the classroom or online. We put them through a very demanding training and development program over the course of their career with us, so that they are aware of all of the intricacies of the curriculum that we develop and the technology, so that they can use that knowledge to deliver a highly personalized experience for each of the students that they have. They also are trained on how to work with the guidance counselor and the success coach in order to ensure that the student gets the ideal educational experience at Nexus. I've been talking a little bit about success coaches. This is a unique role to Nexus Academy. It's based on our experience in educating kids over the last 11 years, where we saw teachers really good at teaching and working with students in the classroom. Guidance counselors are really good at working with students in counseling sessions. But there's that in-between time where the student really needs someone who understands what their goals and objectives are and can work with them to keep them motivated and focused and on track, and can also intervene and help them get a richer experience out of the school. Let me give you an example. Jason, as I mentioned earlier, was struggling in the English class. Let's say the teacher had a couple of intervention sessions with Jason and felt Jason has mastered this material and he's ready to move on, and Jason doesn't feel that way. And Jason tries to communicate that with the teacher, but the teacher says, you need to trust yourself, go ahead, let's just move on and see how it goes. This is a perfect opportunity for Jason to go to the success coach and go, I'm not comfortable yet. I really do want a little bit more of the intervention time. I want some more one-on-one time. I want to be able to really feel more comfortable with this material. The coach would then work with the teacher and Jason and come to an agreement that everybody's happy with. Same is true in the algebra class. Jason was ready to move on at a faster pace. Let's say the teacher allows them to move ahead, but not fast enough, and Jason wants to go a little bit further and farther. You can work with the success coach to come over and talk with the teacher and come to an agreeable situation and solution so that Jason remains engaged and challenged and involved in his education. Now, our success coaches here are licensed paraprofessionals. They go through a special training and development program that we've developed at Connections Education. And from what I've seen so far, the people that we brought on board for this position, they're ranging from recent college graduates that had earned their degree in counseling and saw this as an opportunity that was potentially more rewarding and challenging than your traditional counselor position. To other people that were out in the workforce and looking to change their careers and wanted to come back and work with high school students, so they were helping the next generation of leaders get a good foundation underneath them so they can succeed in college and in their professional career later on. As I mentioned, guidance counselors are working with the students on the personal learning plans. With our juniors and seniors, they'll work with them on the post-secondary enrollment options program so students can take college courses. They'll work with all students on preparation for the SAT and ACT exams. With our seniors, they'll work with them one-on-one to talk about career options, selecting the right college, vocational training, etc. For the families, they'll help you with providing understanding and guidance with financial aid and scholarships, college application processes, entrance requirements, and more. As I've mentioned earlier, our college prep curriculum is designed by our curriculum experts and has won awards, numerous awards over the last 11 years. We're offering a broad selection of honors courses and also electives. We also have 18 advanced placement courses available for students. If you want to take a look at the full course list, go to our website at nexusacademyschool.com. On the left navigation bar, you'll see Michigan or Ohio. Click on whatever state you live in. That'll take you to the appropriate state site. And then in the left navigation bar, you'll see a link for curriculum. When you click on that, it'll take you to a page that in the middle of that page has two links. One for all of the courses, the curriculum, and the other for all the clubs. One of the things that I also mentioned earlier was that our curriculum is designed to meet and exceed local, state, national standards, and it includes a mix of online and print resources to keep the students engaged based on their learning style. Some people like online videos, some people like to read it, some people like to do it hands-on. Our curriculum takes all that into account so that the student has the right options available for their particular learning style. Now this is a diagram that pretty much sums up what we've talked about today. The center of our universe is the student. We've created an experience, an environment that will allow the student to explore, create, learn, and grow. I talked to you about how the teachers are responsible for evaluating, personalizing, and intervening with the course materials. I've talked about the success coach focus on motivating and collaborating and supporting. I've talked about the curriculum, how it engages, instructs, and assesses the student's performance. The one thing I haven't mentioned is in the lower right corner called Live Tutor. It's also called Help Desk. When the student logs in to Nexus, and let's say they're at home and they're working on some of their assignments, or they're at the library working on some of their assignments, and they get stuck. Now, when I was in high school, my only option was either wait till the next day and talk to the teacher, or hope that my parents could help me through that particular issue. With Nexus, we have live teachers working a help desk, and all the student has to do is click on a button. The teacher will ask them what their problem is, and then they'll work with them to solve that problem. What makes this extra valuable beyond it allows the student to continue to move forward and finish the work is it's all tracked in Nexus. Now, if I had a problem when I was a high school student and I had a conversation with my dad, my teacher never knew about it. But with this experience and it being tracked in Nexus, the teacher sees that experience, that data, and realizes, okay, the students reached out to the help desk a couple of times. They're exhibiting some other characteristics that show they might need an intervention. And that allows the teacher to come in and respond quickly and appropriately to student needs. So it's a really valuable tool that the students get a tremendous value out of, but it also enriches the overall educational experience. Now here's a blueprint of what the typical Nexus Academy floor plan will look like. They may change a little bit based on the actual footprint of the building that they're in, but this covers the basics. Um, this is over 15,000 square feet. In the center, you'll see marked Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, and Team 4. That's where Jason goes for his homework room assignments in the morning. The students will go into there during the first session, and when they show up for the classroom session, they'll meet with the success coach and their other students. Then they'll head off to their classes and their other work. In the upper right, in the lower right corner, is where the math and English classes are. In the upper left corner is the multi-purpose room and the cafe. Again, the multi-purpose room can be used for larger lectures when we have guest speakers come in. It could also be used for lab work, so that we have the right equipment and the right supervision for students who need to do a chemistry lab or a biology lab. In the lower left corner is the fitness center, where the personal trainer will work, and we'll have a variety of equipments there in order to address the different ways that the students want to work on their fitness plans. The next few slides I'll flip through rather quickly. These are architectural drawings of what the floor space will look like, so you can get a feel for where it's going. This is the front lobby, and right there in the center you'll see the admin assistant receptionist. It's important to know all students and staff will be given key cards that they need to swipe to get in and out of the building. We're doing this for two reasons: A, security, and B, it helps us take attendance. Here's another view of the front lobby, the receptionist desk in the center, the front door to the left, and you can just begin to see some of the team rooms to the right. Looking out at the team rooms here, you'll notice that there are no floor-to-ceiling walls. What we've created here is an open learning and work environment. What we wanted to create was something very similar to college setups and also the professional work environment. Here you'll see in the team area the desks that can be used for small group meetings or brought together for larger group meetings. Over on the right, the study corrals where you can go just to plug in, put your head down, and work hard independently. Here's some of the couches that we'll have set up, and this is ideal for someone like my daughter who likes to come back from school, flop down on the couch, put the laptop on her lap, and just start doing her work right there. Again, another look at from the back of the building to the front. What we wanted to create here was an environment where the students knew they needed to focus on the work. What we didn't want to have is the distractions of having teachers pulled out to do hallway duty or cafeteria duty. We wanted the students to be able to come in, realize that they're there to work, the teachers can see across anything and take care of anything that needs to be taken care of. But again, this is another example of what we're instilling in these students. You need to be well organized, you need to be responsible, you need to be professional, and that's the Nexus experience. Transportation and food. We did some research prior to selecting the sites for all of our Nexus schools, and we talked to parents and students of middle school age and high school age, and we asked them about their experiences with school buses. And what we heard was it picks us up too early in the morning, it drops us off too early before our classes start. It picks us up after school, but I can't get out of campus early, and it drops me off, an hour after it picks me up because I've got to sit through the entire route. And then all of the wonderful stories that we're all familiar with about all the socialization that goes on among those buses. So what was key in our plan with Nexus Academy was all of our campuses, all of our schools are located conveniently to major thoroughfares. They're all located convenient to public transportation, directly on bus lines. We have adequate parking, huge parking lots in most of our sites, but we have taken into account student parking needs, faculty parking needs. And then we've also got a setup where it's adequate room for the pickup and delivery of students. So Nexus Academy does not provide bus transportation to and from school, but we are conveniently located so it's easy for the students to get there, and they're able to go when they need to go based on their schedules. Once school starts, we anticipate principals and parents working together, because they will know where all the students are coming from, and we can explore the opportunity of carpools. Now, the other thing that we looked at was food. We asked the students, okay, what's your feeling about cafeteria food? And you can only imagine what some of those responses were like. So what we did here was, we didn't want to set up fixed lunch hours. Again, going back to personal experiences, when my daughter was a junior in high school, I believe her lunchtime was scheduled for 9 a.m. And in her senior year, it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. What we didn't want was to create a situation where, like my daughter, she just had breakfast and now she's going to a lunch period. Well, she's not going to eat because she's not hungry. But later in the day, she's going to be starving and she can't eat because she's not in the cafeteria. Same thing for the afternoon crowd. Waiting and waiting and waiting for the ability to have lunch takes your mind off of what you're really there for, which is learning. So what we've created here is an open cafe. We'll be providing free, healthy food, snacks, beverages. We're working with the appropriate agencies at each of the schools in order to find out what we can provide in terms of healthy snacks and beverages. Those are free. The students will be able to take them whenever they want. They'll be able to eat whenever they want. They're also able to bring their lunches. So when they're ready to pop open their lunch and sit down and do some work, they can do it. Again, what we want to create here is a situation that's similar to college, similar to the professional world, where you've got your work to do, but if you're hungry and you want to have something to nibble on, go for it. Get the work done. Stay focused. That's what we want. I've dropped a lot of information on you in the last 20, 25 minutes, and I appreciate your patience and your understanding. This is a brief summation of what we've gone through. You're probably wondering, okay, now, is Nexus Academy really right for my child, for me, the student? And I think the key points that you need to consider is that, do you really want more individualized learning experiences? Would you benefit from structure and personal attention of a small in-person school environment? Would you like to choose from a broad selection of advanced placement, honors, and elective courses? Do you need a flexible school day to pursue other interests such as internships, sports, performing arts, college dual enrollment, other things? Would you enjoy collaborative learning with students just like yourself? And do you want to develop the organization, communication, leadership skills in order to succeed in college and beyond? Now, if you've checked some or all of those boxes, Nexus Academy, as you can see, is really designed for that type of experience and for your needs in those areas. I want to thank you for your time, your patience, your understanding, and especially your interest. If you have any other questions, please feel free to call us at 888-533-6360, Monday through Friday, 9 to 6 p.m., or visit our website, www.nexusacademyschool.com.